It's Cape Gun Works, and there's a lot of gun news right now. And I wanted to talk to Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works about some of it. Thank you for being with me, Toby.
Hey, Grace, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. So I want to start with my question about gun control. Obviously, gun sales have been at a record high over the past couple of months, but Joe Biden is really pledging, and I'm going to read you something here that I hadn't seen until today. He said, as president, I pledge to continue to work together with Congresswoman Giffords and with survivors, families, and advocates across the country to defeat the NRA and end gun violence in America. What do you have to say about that, Toby? Are you nervous about the incoming administration and, people's right to bear arms?
Yeah, well, in the second Obama term, there was a lot of chatter about gun control and whatnot, and it turned into Obama being the gun salesman of the decade. I mean, there was, guns were sold at a faster rate under the Obama administration than any other president or any other time in our history. And Joe Biden just told Obama, hold my beer. You haven't seen anything yet. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So the amount of legislation that is being proposed or talked about is unbelievable. And it is so far reaching, it would totally change the way the Second Amendment is in our country forever. And so there's good reason to be nervous about that. And I'm not an alarmist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't try to play off people's emotions about it. And I don't have to, frankly, because the media is doing a very good job of it right now. But when he takes someone like Beto O'Rourke, who said in the debate, hell yeah, we're coming for your AR-15s and your AK-47s, and appoints him his gun control czar, what more needs to be said? He is coming hard and fast for our Second Amendment freedoms. It's no secret. This is the first time they've campaigned on that overtly. Like normally they kind of do it with some subtlety and say things like, oh, common sense, gun control, blah, blah, blah. And, we got to keep, this out of the hands of, criminals and felons, which everybody agrees with.
Right.
This time it was, no, we're coming for your guns. We're going to go door to door. We're going to force you into a buyback. It's just crazy. And, I didn't think the world or the country was receptive to that. And, but, they're moving forward. They're marching on. So here we are.
I mean, in Beto's defense, at least he said it correctly. I think Joe Biden had called them AR-14s at one point. So at least he knew what he was talking about to some degree. But I wanted to read you this, Toby. This is from the Washington Post. It's a labor organizer actually was criticizing Biden's plan. And the person said, Biden's plan falls into a long line of government efforts to disarm the working class while keeping the lanes clear for the privileged who can afford whatever legal curveballs are thrown their way. This divisive plan will do little to curb gun violence and will instead hammer home the vast inequalities still dividing this nation. It's less to me about, scaring people, but it's more to open people's eyes to this is not going to do what they think it's going to do. This is not going to keep guns out of the hands of criminals if you go after the NRA.
Correct. Yeah, the 94 assault weapons ban that was done by the Clinton administration had a 10-year sunset provision, and it was contingent upon it actually reducing gun violence. Well, at the end of 10 years, they did the study and realized it didn't do a dang thing to reduce gun violence in America. It never does. It's not about that. But at least the politicians that voted it in 94 had the foresight to say, all right, we'll give you one here and we'll track it and see if it actually does reduce gun violence, even though that's irrelevant to the Second Amendment. But they at least wanted to track it and apply it to something. So at the end of the 10 years, they go, yeah, there's no change in violent gun use. So we're going to make this go away. And they did. It sunset and it went away, except for in Massachusetts, we made it permanent. So this is not going to do a thing to make you safer. It never does. Gun violence actually does the opposite. Gun control does the opposite. If you look at Chicago should be ground zero. It should be the mecca for gun control working, but it doesn't. Every weekend, 50 or 80 people are gunned down in all kinds of gun violence, but it has some of the most stringent gun control regulations in the country. So
it's almost like
it's obvious it doesn't work.
It's almost like it's all talking points, and it's all something that these politicians can go around talking about forever and ever, knowing that it's not actually going to do any good. And it reminds me a lot of other laws, too, where people just want to put things on the book that they can't enforce and they can't see through, but it makes them feel good and it makes their, the fringe of their party feel better.
Right. That's exactly what it is. It's a solution in search of a problem. And the problem to gun violence isn't taking guns away from law-abiding citizens. It's enforcing the laws of the land. We don't have the stomach to put people away for a long time who use guns illegally. We never do. We never do it. In this state, we have a 1-year mandatory minimum sentence for anyone who uses a gun in the commission of a crime or is a felon in possession of a gun. And it's been used maybe a handful of times in the decades that it's been in power. If it really got applied the way it should, the guy who killed Officer Gannon down here in South Yarmouth would have been doing a 30-year bid because he got arrested prior with 30 illegal guns. So he should have been in jail for a year mandatory minimum for each one of those counts. But the problem is we plea bargain him out. We say, we reduce it to a lesser charge, or he gets out on good behavior, whatever the case might be. We have no stomach or resolve to lock violent criminals and felons up for a long time in jail where they should be. And then COVID rolls around and we let them out.
Right. And we prioritize their vaccines over elderly people who are in nursing homes. There's a lot of problems with COVID, especially in Massachusetts. I'm talking to Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks in Hyannis right now. He's an expert on all things firearms. Toby, I want to read you some of these statistics. 21 million firearms were sold in 2020. That figure includes 8 million first-time gun buyers. And the part that I find interesting is of those first-time buyers, 40% are women. So as someone who sells guns, at your store and sells ammunition and sees people coming in and out, have you been seeing this? Like, what is it? What are you seeing in your store as far as the energy and the enthusiasm for owning firearms?
Well, that's a great point. Women are by far the fastest growing demographic with the gun industry. And what happens is at first they'll come in, thinking they need a gun for security purposes and, to kind of level the playing field in the grand scheme of things. They will go through the licensing process. And then, women are very good about once they get into something, they don't just buy a gun, take it home, throw it in the safe. Like, I used to do that as a gun collector for years. They actually want to learn about it. They want to take a class. They want to learn how to shoot efficiently and safely. They'll buy a holster. They'll take classes and private lessons. And so they end up becoming very passionate about it. And they end up, it becomes a lifestyle change for a lot of the women who are buying guns. And it's not just a new hobby. It's a new way of life. They're starting to think about their safety and security. They're starting to think about their rights a lot differently than they used to. And some women, used to just believe in the right to keep and bear arms, but now they're partaking in that right. And they are very passionate and enthusiastically getting involved. And they're even, shooting recreationally. They realize it's a fun hobby to get involved with, not to mention a way to keep themselves safe. And so, yeah, it's been great. We have tons of couples. We have tons of women. Every class, probably, I would say 50 to 60% of every class we do right now is women. And it's a welcome sight here in our store. And we have a lot of couples, a lot of kids in the store, a lot of women get involved. And I think it's great. And they're really getting empowered and taking responsibility for their own safety. So
leave it to the ladies. We don't just, we do everything we do. We got to perfect it. We got to make it just right. So we're not just going to get a gun. We're going to become the best shooter possible. Some of us are even better at shooting than our bosses. But I don't want to get into that because, I don't want to get in trouble here. But Toby, I want to ask you something else. You guys are great on social media. If anyone wants to check them out, it's capegunworks.com. But you guys are also on Instagram, on Facebook. I know you send out newsletters. So I saw this news story about MailChimp boots gun rights group, and MailChimp, which is a very popular way of sending out emails to, your entire list of people. MailChimp blocked Virginia's top gun rights group from sending newsletters through its service for unspecified reasons. There was no justification. That was what the president of the group said. They provided nothing. Basically, they just said we need to get our stuff and be prepared to move on. Do you worry about this, about being censored on social media or a crackdown as far as your free speech is concerned?
Yeah, it's been something we've done, we've battled with, especially with Facebook over the years. It got to the point where I couldn't even comment on one of my own posts before I had a former Facebook employee run it up the ladder with people he knew that was able to get some of the features unlocked on my site. But yeah, we've been met with resistance when it comes to social media. When it comes to we still could not boost a post on Instagram or Facebook. You can't. YouTube demonetized a lot of the channels, and this is just the latest part of the purge where they're starting to silence anybody who doesn't believe the same as big tech, and they're booting off people off their servers, as we see with Parler, and but specifically with gun-friendly sites, AR15.com was one that their servers got pulled from them, and now the whole MailChimp thing. And I know GoDaddy is another one that has been, pushing, people off their platform. So it's only a matter of time, I think, that you're gonna comply or you're gonna be banned from the site altogether. That's
I would agree with that. It's a sad truth, but I would agree. So everybody listen up. Toby is going to be on in the next segment. We have an unbelievable Grace's Goodies. I'm going to save it for the next segment, Toby, but I want people to know that if you have ever tried to get a cheap Aster deal, you know that they run out. If not the fastest, he's one of the top 3 fastest. People just go on and they grab these and then they're gone. So get ready. Go to gracecurleyshow.com to get ready for Grace's Goodies. 844-500-4242. And I think what we're going to do, Toby, if it's okay with you, I know so many people. So I called my fiance today and I said, do you have any, he's trying to, get a firearm. And I said, do you have any questions for Toby? And he called me up and he said, I have a lot of specific questions. And then he kept going and going. And I said, I got to go. I said, I got work to do here. But it made me think. I said, I should open up the phone lines because people always have questions about this. 844-500-4242. We're going to be back with Toby to do Grace's Goodies. And we're also going to take your calls if you have any questions about firearms or ammunition, anything like that. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.
Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks, and we're so excited. We have a great Grace's Goodies today. All you have to do to get this is go to gracecurleyshow.com. That's gracecurleyshow.com and click on store. Now, here is the deal. While supplies last, you can purchase 1 full year of range use at Cape Gunworks. Now, it's valued at $500, but they're also going to waive the $175 initiation fee. So you're getting $675. That's the value of it for just $250. This is an incredible deal. Toby, can you tell people a little bit about what they'll get with this deal?
Yeah, absolutely. This is by far the most popular membership we ever offer. And I get people come in 365 days a year asking, when are you doing another cheap bastard deal? Well, here it is. So with the full membership, you never pay range fees, and you get 5% off anything you buy in the store: guns, ammo, range bags, optics, equipment, whatever. And you get 10% off any Cape Gunworks classes that we offer. So that's a huge benefit right there. Then you get a 30-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee of every firearm you purchase. If you try it, you take it home and you go, it doesn't fit my hand. You used to take a pretty big hit on that, but as a member, you're going to get a full refund on that. You get a satisfaction guarantee for 30 days of any firearm you purchase from us. So you get access to our indoor archery range as well, and one of the most wonderfully designed full cotton T-shirts that say you're a proud member of Cape Gunworks. So that's what you get with membership, and we're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the range, and 11 to 5 on Sundays. So.
And Toby, we only have 20 of these available, so everyone should get to gracecurleyshow.com. These will go fast. And I wanted to let people know, this is a state-of-the-art gun range. It's absolutely beautiful. I've been there several times. If you've never been to Cape Gun Works, you might not know what to expect. It's so gorgeous. And there's the shop there. I like to always get a T-shirt when I'm there because who can resist? But Toby, can I get one caller on before you have to go?
Absolutely, yeah.
Chet. Chet, you're next with Grace and Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks. Chet, what's your question really quick?
I bought a shotgun from a dealer, and they told me the background check only take about 10 minutes, and it's going on 9 days. Does that sound a little strange to you?
Not exactly. About 30% of the time we get a delay. So if you get a delay, it should only take 3 business days. So if you do it on a Tuesday, you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so you'd be available to pick it up the following Monday. So hopefully that makes sense. If you haven't heard from them, I would give them a call and say, hey, it's been 9 days. Am I all clear to come pick up the weapon? And they should be able to tell you yes or no. We get calls all the time from people who are on delay to check the status. So it does happen about 30 or 40% of the time. So
let's try to fit in one more, Toby, because we got full lines here. Jim, you're next with Toby. What's your question?
Hi, Grace. Love the show. Toby, I am a prospective first-time firearm buyer, and I'm just sort of getting my feet wet in the topic. What do I need to, bring, and what can I expect for the, gun buying process as a first-time one?
Yeah. Yeah, great question, actually, because a lot of people need to know this. You get your license to carry, and then you have to bring the state-issued PIN number that they give you with the license. When you get the license, you want to make sure you bring that PIN number because we have a lot of people who drive from Worcester or Springfield or come over from the islands and they forget that PIN number. And if it's outside of the typical business hours at the state or they're really swamped, they can't call and retrieve that PIN.
Toby, thank you so much for calling in. We're running out of time.